Love, fear, hate, a complex interdependence leading to death and war. Introduction. Human emotions are complex and multifaceted, often existing in a delicate balance. Among these emotions, love, fear, and hate are particularly intertwined. The interplay between these three emotions can have profound implications for individuals and societies. This manuscript explores the concept that love, fear, and hate are inseparable. One cannot exist without the others. It posits that when one loves, one inevitably fears losing that love, and this fear can give rise to hate against anything perceived as a threat to that love. This emotional triad can lead to extreme consequences, including death and war. The nature of love. Love is a fundamental human emotion that manifests in various forms, including romantic love, familial love, and platonic love. It is characterized by deep affection, attachment, and a sense of connection. Love is often seen as a positive and life-affirming force, inspiring acts of kindness, sacrifice, and creativity. It is celebrated in literature, art, and religion as one of the highest human experiences. The psychology of love. Psychologists have long studied the nature of love and its effects on human behavior. According to attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby, the bonds we form in early childhood with our caregivers influence our relationships throughout life. Secure attachment leads to healthy relationships, while insecure attachment can result in difficulties with intimacy and trust. Biologically, love involves complex neurochemical processes. Neurotransmitters such as dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin play significant roles in the feelings of pleasure, bonding, and well-being associated with love. These chemicals create a sense of euphoria and security, reinforcing the attachment to the loved one. Love in cultural contexts. Cultural perspectives on love also shape how this emotion is experienced and expressed. For instance, individualistic cultures, such as those in Western countries, often emphasize romantic love and personal fulfillment, while collectivist cultures, such as those in many Asian societies, might prioritize familial love and social harmony. These cultural differences highlight the diverse ways in which love influences human behavior and societal norms. Literary illustrations of love. Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare is a quintessential exploration of romantic love. The intense passion between Romeo and Juliet defies family enmity and social conventions. Their love is portrayed as pure and all-consuming, but it also brings profound fear and ultimately leads to their tragic deaths. Their story illustrates how the fear of losing love can drive individuals to desperate actions. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte delves into a darker, more obsessive side of love. The tumultuous relationship between Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw is driven by intense passion and mutual dependence. Their love transcends the boundaries of life and death but is fraught with jealousy, possessiveness, and fear of loss, leading to destructive behaviors and enduring hatred. The emergence of fear. With love comes the fear of losing it. This fear is not just about the potential loss of the person or object of love but also about the loss of the positive emotions and sense of security that love provides. Fear of loss can be overwhelming and can manifest in various ways, from anxiety and jealousy to obsessive behavior. Fear as a protective mechanism. Fear is a natural and adaptive response that serves to protect us from harm. In the context of love, fear can act as a motivator to maintain and safeguard the relationship. It can lead to increased vigilance and efforts to prevent any threats to the bond. However, when fear becomes excessive or irrational, it can have destructive consequences. The impact of fear on relationships. Fear can strain relationships, leading to behaviors that undermine trust and intimacy. Jealousy, possessiveness, and controlling behavior are common manifestations of fear in romantic relationships. These behaviors can create a cycle of fear and insecurity, damaging the very bond one is trying to protect. Fear in parental love. In the context of parental love, fear can manifest as an intense desire to protect one's children from harm. This can lead to overprotectiveness and anxiety about the child's safety and future. While this fear is rooted in love, it can sometimes hinder the child's development and independence. Literary illustrations of fear. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald showcases the fear of losing love through the character of Jay Gatsby. Gatsby's obsessive love for Daisy Buchanan is driven by a deep fear of losing her, which leads him to engage in dubious activities to regain his status and win her back. His fear and obsession ultimately lead to his downfall. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier explores fear in the context of romantic and marital relationships. The unnamed narrator's fear of losing her husband's love, overshadowed by the lingering presence of his deceased first wife, Rebecca, drives the narrative. This fear leads to insecurity, jealousy, and a pervasive sense of inadequacy, illustrating how fear can poison relationships. The transition to hate. When fear becomes intense and prolonged, it can transform into hate. Hate is a powerful and destructive emotion that arises from perceived threats or injustices. It is often directed at those believed to have the power to take away what we love. Hate can be seen as a defense mechanism, a way to externalize and combat the fear of loss. The nature of hate. Hate is characterized by intense aversion, hostility, and a desire to harm or eliminate the source of the threat. It is a polarizing emotion that divides the world into us and them. Unlike fear, which can be paralyzing, hate often motivates action, sometimes leading to aggression and violence. The dynamics of hate. Hate is often fueled by fear and a sense of vulnerability. It can be directed at individuals, groups, or abstract concepts perceived as threats. The targets of hate are often dehumanized, making it easier to justify aggression against them. This dehumanization is a common feature in conflicts and wars, where enemies are depicted as less than human. Societal manifestations of hate. Societal hate often manifests in forms such as racism, xenophobia, and sectarianism. These forms of hate are not only directed at individuals but also at entire communities. Political leaders and media can exploit these feelings to galvanize support, often leading to social divisions and violence. Historical events, such as the Holocaust or the Rwandan genocide, illustrate the devastating impact of societal hate. Literary illustrations of hate. Othello by William Shakespeare is a powerful examination of how fear and jealousy can turn into hate. Othello's love for Desdemona is poisoned by Iago's manipulations, planting seeds of fear and suspicion. This fear escalates into intense jealousy and ultimately hate, leading to tragic consequences. 1984 by George Orwell portrays a dystopian society where hate is institutionalized. The government's use of propaganda and fear-mongering creates a culture of hate directed at perceived enemies, both external and internal. The novel illustrates how fear and hate can be manipulated to maintain control and suppress dissent. Love, fear, and hate in historical context. Throughout history, the interplay of love, fear, and hate has been a driving force behind many significant events, including conflicts, wars, and social movements. Understanding this dynamic can provide insights into the motivations behind human actions and the causes of societal upheaval. Case study: the Trojan War. One of the most famous examples of love, fear, and hate leading to war is the Trojan War, as depicted in Greek mythology. The war began with the love affair between Paris, a Trojan prince, and Helen, the wife of the Spartan king Menelaus. Paris's abduction, or elopement, of Helen sparked fear and outrage in Sparta and across Greece. Menelaus's fear of losing his wife and the resulting shame and dishonor led to a deep hatred for the Trojans. This hatred mobilized the Greek city-states to wage a decade-long war against Troy. The emotions of love, fear, and hate not only triggered the conflict but also fueled its persistence and brutality. Case study: World War I. World War I provides a modern example of how fear and hate can escalate into large-scale conflict. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary by a Serbian nationalist ignited existing tensions and alliances. Nationalist fervor, fear of losing power, and hatred of rival nations and ethnic groups contributed to the war's outbreak. The love of country, patriotism, played a significant role, as people were motivated to fight for their homeland and protect their national identity. Fear of foreign domination and hatred of perceived enemies drove the conflict, resulting in unprecedented destruction and loss of life. Case study: the Cold War. The Cold War was characterized by intense fear and hatred between the United States and the Soviet Union. This period of geopolitical tension was fueled by ideological differences and the fear of nuclear annihilation. Both superpowers engaged in an arms race and proxy wars, demonstrating how fear and hate can lead to sustained conflict without direct confrontation. Case study: the Rwandan Genocide. The Rwandan genocide in 1994 is a stark example of how deep-seated fear and hate can lead to mass violence. Ethnic tensions between the Hutu and Tutsi communities, exacerbated by political manipulation and propaganda, culminated in the systematic slaughter of approximately 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The fear of losing power and the intense hatred of the other ethnic group fueled this horrific event. Literary illustrations of historical hate. The Iliad by Homer provides an epic portrayal of the Trojan War, highlighting how love, fear, and hate can drive conflict. The personal vendettas and divine interventions in the story reflect the complex motivations behind the war. All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque offers a poignant depiction of World War I from the perspective of German soldiers. The novel explores the dehumanizing effects of fear and hate in war, emphasizing the common humanity of soldiers on both sides. The personal and social consequences of hate. Hate has profound implications not only for individuals but also for societies. On a personal level, hate can consume a person's thoughts and actions, leading to emotional and physical harm. It can erode relationships and contribute to mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. The cycle of hate. Hate can create a self-perpetuating cycle. When one group hates and acts against another, the targeted group may respond with fear and hate of their own. This cycle can escalate, leading to ongoing violence and retribution. Breaking this cycle requires addressing the underlying fears and fostering understanding and reconciliation. Hate in modern society. In modern society, hate manifests in various forms, including hate speech, hate crimes, and online harassment. The rise of social media has amplified the spread of hate, allowing it to reach a wider audience more quickly. This has led to increased polarization and social fragmentation. Addressing hate. Addressing hate requires a multifaceted approach. Education and awareness programs can help reduce prejudice and promote tolerance. Legal measures, such as hate crime legislation, can deter acts of hate. Psychological interventions, such as counseling and therapy, can help individuals manage their emotions and address the root causes of their hatred. Literary illustrations of modern hate. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee addresses racism and hate in the American South. The novel, Through the Eyes of Scout Finch, explores the deep-seated fear and prejudice that drive the community's hatred towards African Americans, exemplified in the trial of Tom Robinson. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas is a contemporary exploration of racial hate and police violence. The protagonist, Star Carter, witnesses the police shooting of her friend, which ignites fear and hate within her community. The novel delves into the complexities of hate and the necessity of empathy and activism. Love, fear, hate, and the human condition. The interplay of love, fear, and hate is a fundamental aspect of the human condition. These emotions are deeply rooted in our biology and psychology, influencing our behavior in profound ways. Understanding this interplay can help us navigate our own emotions and relationships, as well as address larger societal issues. The role of empathy. Empathy is a crucial factor in mitigating the negative effects of fear and hate. By understanding and sharing the feelings of others, we can build connections and reduce hostility. Empathy can counteract the dehumanization that often accompanies hate, fostering compassion and cooperation instead. Strategies for managing emotions. Developing emotional intelligence can help individuals manage the interplay of love, fear, and hate. This involves recognizing and understanding one's emotions, as well as developing strategies for coping with them. Mindfulness, therapy, and open communication are tools that can promote emotional well-being and healthy relationships. The power of forgiveness. Forgiveness can be a powerful antidote to hate. It involves letting go of grudges and the desire for revenge, which can break the cycle of fear and hate. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or condoning harmful actions, but rather freeing oneself from the emotional burden of hatred. Building resilient communities. Building resilient communities that can withstand the pressures of fear and hate involves fostering social cohesion and mutual support. Community programs that promote inclusivity, dialogue, and collaboration can help create environments where love and empathy flourish, reducing the likelihood of conflict. Conclusion. Love, fear, and hate are deeply intertwined emotions that shape our experiences and actions. While love is often seen as a positive force, it brings with it the fear of loss. This fear can give rise to hate, particularly against perceived threats. The interplay of these emotions can lead to extreme outcomes, including death and war. Understanding the dynamics of love, fear, and hate can provide valuable insights into human behavior and societal conflicts. By fostering empathy and emotional intelligence, we can mitigate the negative effects of these emotions and work towards a more peaceful and compassionate world. In recognizing that one cannot exist without the others, we gain a deeper understanding of the human condition and the powerful forces that drive us. This awareness is the first step towards addressing the fear and hate that can arise from love, and ultimately, towards creating a more harmonious society. This expanded manuscript incorporates stories and literary references that deepen the exploration of love, fear, and hate. If there are additional specific aspects or examples you would like to include, please let me know. Absolutely. Let's enrich the manuscript by incorporating references to stories, authors, and books that illustrate the intricate interplay between love, fear, and hate.